Great.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. We'll start at 2:05. Yeah, let's wait other 3 minutes. 2:05, I think is okay.
Si chiama Serena, la prof che lo Sofia. No, è il cognome. Ah, ok. Anch'io pensavo al contrario.
So it's 2:05. I think we can start. We are a lot of people, that's good. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Elena. I'm the Reintegrate Wellbeing Project Coordinator. And welcome to this third session of the mentoring program. I would like to do a small introduction for those of you just joining us today. These webinars are part of a larger project within the Erasmus Plus KA2 European program. And the Reintegrate Wellbeing Project aims to support employees suffering from burnout and often in long-term unemployment to reintegrate into the labor market by showing them how to regain motivation and self-confidence. And on the other hand, the project activities will encourage employers to create a healthier working environment in terms of commitment and well-being in the workplace. At this stage of the project, we produced a lot of material, and in this case, a 360 curricula that we are actually using for these webinars. In this moment, we are in the module 1 that is Unpacking Burnout, and we already did the first 2 sessions that cover the following topics. The first one was uncovering the core of burnout, a comprehensive understanding. And the second one was demystifying burnout, so exploring behavioral contributors. And today, for the third session, we are going to discuss the behavioral precursor within the workplace. I would also like to remind the participants that if you have any doubts or questions, you can raise your hand and ask for the floor. And you can also contact Catalina Robayo from Impact Hub, that is the leader of this activity, but today, unfortunately, she couldn't attend the session, and we will put in touch with the mentors. And also the webinars are recorded, so they are going to be available to follow at a later date. So for today's webinar, we have Ines Caloisi, who will mentor the session, and she has a background of training and experience as facilitator of stress management courses, and furthermore of spiritual behavior in stressful situations, as well as facilitator of self-directed leadership. And at this point, I give you the word to Ines. Let's go ahead. You can introduce yourself a bit more and enjoy.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to meet all of you. I don't know where you come from, but I think that you are all related to our partnership, our countries, or the partnership. So please, if you are interested to make any questions, we are available. I'm available to reply if I'm in charge of it. And so I go to share my presentation. And we will start immediately. Just a minute to share my screen. As Elena was saying, this is an introduction to the behavioral unpacking burnout. So behavioral precursor. Sorry, just a second. I want to close the image I have. Okay, perfect. I have some difficulties on the screen. So behavioral precursor within the workplace. Next one. Okay. In this mentoring section, as you can see, we embark a journey to comprehensively understand and address workplace burnout. That has been the topic and focus of our project. And what is very, very important is to equip participants with practical skills to manage and mitigate these behavioral attitudes and precursors. We engage with theoretical frameworks that empower the individual to contribute to have an attitude, positive attitude to manage to the situation of stress and of burnout. also been in having the approach to prevent this burnout, not entering inside, developing a situation of well-being for the employee and an organizational harmony. Please, this is an icebreaker. I would like to ask each participant to share two true statements about themselves, about yourself, and one burnout buster, a situation that they personally combat, stress, or prevent burnout. Do you want to share something? No. This is a way of entering more in the topic. Psychological perspectives on burnout. In examining burnout from a psychological perspective, we delve into the intricate interplay of emotions, stress, as you know, and coping mechanisms that individuals experience in the workplace. Chronic stress, a hallmark of burnout, can lead to emotional exhaustion and detachment, forming the basis of the Maslow burnout inventory. So exploring these psychological dimensions equips participants with insights into their own emotional well-being and those of their colleagues, laying the groundwork for proactive strategy to be able to manage stress and prevent burnout. That is the core of this presentation. Breve course, there is a quiz. According to the Maslow burnout inventory, what are the key components used to measure burnout? Job demands, resources model, emotional exhaustion, detachment and reduced personal accomplishment, social exchange and theory principles, role ambiguity and conflicting expectations. How does chronic stress contribute to burnout from a psychological standpoint? It enhances emotional resilience, it depletes emotional resources and contribute to emotional exhaustion. It fosters positive workplace relationships. It increases job satisfaction. Another quiz, which psychological model emphasizes the importance of finding a balance between job demands and available resources in preventing burnout? The first one is self-determination theory. The second, job demands resources model, social support theory, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that probably everybody knows. Organizational aspects and burnout prevention. What really helps in all organizational aspects and to prevent burnout? According to the uncertainty and ambiguity model, what aspects within the workplace can contribute to burnout? First of all, the absence of clarity in job roles and expectations. This ambiguity can create a situation of burnout. So the clarity in job roles and expectation will facilitate a positive approach. What is really important are the interpersonal positive relationships. It's important to not to the evidence of role ambiguity and conflicting expectations that creates a situation of burnout, because everything is according to the psychological point of view. And what is more facilitates the autonomy and self-determination. In the context of burnout prevention, what is the key recommendation derived from the job demands resources model regarding organizational practices? The responses are: one, increasing job demands to challenge employees, maintaining a high level of role ambiguity, balancing demands placed on employees with available resources, and reducing available resources to enhance efficiency. Another question, sorry, I'm reading because I don't know exactly all the questions. How does the organizational perspective, as discussed in the paragraph, contribute to create a healthier and more sustainable professional life? By increasing role ambiguity for personal growth, by encouraging a high level of job demands for motivation, by promoting a balance between demands and available resources, by fostering conflicting expectations for innovation. Sorry, Elena, this presentation will be sent to all the participants?
This is going to be available in the MOOC, and then we are going to
Okay.
put
Yeah.
online the registration, the recording of the webinar.
Okay, thank you, Elena.
You're welcome.
Welcome the introduction. The first element, greet participants warmly and create a positive atmosphere. Introduce yourself, emphasize your background, expertise in well-being. The agenda session. This is something that I have to do, Elena, or it is this is something that I have to do. Elena, sorry.
Sorry, I'm reading again because I'm not the I'm not
Just
the
to understand,
facilitator.
because it seems that at the beginning it was something related to the technical.
This is an icebreaker activity, so I don't know. You can choose if you want to do it or not. It's your choice.
For me, if I can do it, it's not a problem for me. But I would like to know if the participants are interested to make an icebreaker, because this icebreaker is ask each participant to share personal well-being snapshot. I can do mine, it's not a problem for me, but are the participants interested to?
I think this material was made also for the MOOC, so it was supposed to be adapted maybe for the session. So
okay.
if you want to skip exercises that are not possible to do like this online, it's not a problem.
Okay, thanks a lot. So in my case, as already Elena has presented, I was a facilitator in spiritual sessions related to how to deal with stress management, and a facilitator of trainings in self-managing leadership, beyond being a European project manager and expert in this field, etc., that I normally say what is more related to the session I'm facilitating. So this is my background as mentor in this field. If someone wants to share its own, obviously we are open to listen to it. In case, let us know. So this is something that we can skip. Icebreaker. Okay. Before allocate time. Okay, this is something that you can think about related to reflect on your understanding of well-being. This is another icebreaker that normally is done in the classroom. We are making an activity online, so it's not really easy. But if you want to share a positive or something that is related to your background, we are absolutely open to listen to it. You see here, Elena, there are all icebreakers.
Yeah, as I told you, it was supposed to be modified. So if there are exercises that are not possible now, we can skip it, no problem.
Okay. Now just to do it correctly. This is another session, Loto Yoga. Loto Yoga. These are, anyway, techniques that facilitate and prevent burnout. As you are seeing, there are also spiritual approach and relaxing, guided relaxation. Sometimes through creating positive images. Here it is written to make this kind of activities. So what is we are talking about is that the behavioral precursors of burnout in the workplace is undertaken to understand and address the phenomenon of burnout. So it means that also these activities that are mentioned help in preventing burnout. In this sense, innovation and participation play a fundamental role in the sessions approach in these sessions. As I told before, activities such as laughter yoga bring fun and create group cohesion, are absolutely activity very positive that help a lot in creating cohesion and also preventing burnout because they develop in a positive approach. That's it. It's finished.
Thank you. I think maybe you can also share with us your experience, or what do you think are the most like contributors to burnout? Or
I'm not an expert of burnout, as I told before. I'm an expert in managing stress. And
yeah, that's also about that. So maybe we can speak about
yes,
it.
exactly.
Could you give us maybe some tips? What can we do at our work placement, which are like good strategies, like something, practical. So we can start also today with them. That would be really helpful, I guess.
Yes, what we normally do for managing stress, what is written in this presentation is absolutely true. Normally also the fact that to create positive situations in our life where we are immersed and where we can, when you have a balance of life and you see that your negativity is more than the positivity, so you are in burnout, that's for sure. So at that point, there is something that you have to improve, where you have to work about. And according to my experience, personal experience, what I did, because I passed through burnout when I worked in a multinational company, because I don't like to be an employee. I didn't like to be an employee. So I really discovered that what was important for me was to be free, first of all, not to be engaged in a company. But to do it, what it was very necessary was a very understanding who I am, really, entering more in touch with myself, understanding my limits, my budget, my boundaries, my aspects of character. So what I encourage everybody to know better themselves. This is something that is very, very important because it encompasses the opportunity to know what you want to do in your life. What is your vocation? What is your core? Where do you want to invest your life? And sometimes we are in burnout because we don't accept, we really very much afraid of something. But we have to do the best to overcome our fears. So, for example, if we live and if it was my case, I lived in a context where I thought that I was the wrong person. And so I had to accept the situation. At a certain point, I realized that I was not the wrong person. It was that environment that was not good for me. And I decided to leave, even if it was really quite a very big challenge to leave a multinational company that was so well stuck, solid, and with, obviously, when you work in a multinational company, everything appears safe, secure, but nothing is secure if you are not secure in yourself. So what I really encourage to know better yourself, to know your really entering deeply in contact with yourself without fear, because this is knowing yourself, ourselves, is the most important aspect of our life. This is the reason why I think it's really wonderful to live, because we know our boundaries inside, we know who we are and what we want to do without any kind of restrictions, but looking in a positive way what is inside us. And according to that, making choices. So I think that sometimes burnout emerges because we live a life that is not balanced, is not in harmony, as it is written also in this presentation. Sanna Koritz, please.
Hi everyone. Thanks, Ines, for the presentation. I agree with you that I think that it's super important to know oneself and to be in touch with the not only the psychological and physical aspects, but the emotional. Are we in the right place or not? I also think that it's really important to look at the responsibility of the employer. So there's a lot of things that employers can do, I think, that help to promote a culture of well-being. So we can talk about things like authentic leadership, for example, to show up and be a model that tells others that they are allowed to show up as themselves, not only as perfect employees, but also vulnerable and, you know, with everything that people have to bring. I also think that having allowing for healthy habits is really key as well. So there are, I think what we can talk about as well in this context is what cultural norms exist in a place of work. And I think that those cultural norms need to be a part of a company strategy, because we can say that we are about transparency. Like you, Ines, I have also worked in multinational companies. I didn't feel at home there, but they all talk about transparency. They all talk about fairness. But what do they actually do to promote those values? So I think that when we talk about creating a culture of well-being, we can look at that from a strategic point of view, so that we don't just talk about initiatives that have a certain timeline, but we actually, this is part of what we do on a strategic level in our business. So there are a lot of practical things that one can integrate in the workplace, but there has to be leadership and there has to be continuity. Thank you.
Yes, what I want to tell you, and everybody, just to share with everybody, I left my company when my company was doing really, they talked about that it was the best place in the world where you can stay. And there were a lot of elements that have been taken to consideration. So the culture of transparency, the being authentic. What I want to say is that sometimes words means different things for everybody. So for my company, authenticity is not exactly what it means for me and for other people. So I think that the employer can do a lot, but they really have to follow what they say. Because sometimes it's just creating a culture, an idea. They want to participate to the possibility that they are working for this, but they don't do really this. Because I worked in a pharmaceutical company, and what really was important for them were money. So even if they worked in a way that, and also they create meetings where to talk about how to stay safe in our company, how to create the best company in terms of health, in terms of positive attitude. They talked about the possibility in that situation. They manage everything as it was a familyist approach. That is not a family approach. So it depends what, I agree with you, but sometimes our values enter in contrast with the values of the company. And in that case, we have to be able to take responsibility and our own responsibility and accept that that company is not for us, because otherwise we burn out for sure. Please, I don't see your name, but you can talk.
Yeah, hi, I'm Marco.
Rob.
I think I can relate a lot to what Sanna was saying. I think it's a lot of the burnout cases or stress situations can be kind of targeted or worked with by creating a different culture, work culture in the office. I mean, also I also worked for a huge organization before, international organization. It's not a company, it's an international organization, and it's still, you know, this massive anchoring of people working and so on, having a ridiculous amount of meetings with no possibility for self you're one of the rest. And I think when people are valued in their work, and when people feel like they want to go to work because their opinion or their work matters, I think this also changes the perspective a bit on the employee rather than. But this is the hard part. How do you create, now that I'm in a management position? I'm trying to do this in my office, but how? How can I promote an environment in which everybody feels comfortable, and that everybody has a role, or and that they can communicate freely? This is the hard part. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I agree on that. There is someone else that wants to share their own experience, or they want to say something? For sure, the burnout has to face with a positive attitude. It can come from the employee or can come from the employer, but there is a meeting point where they have to meet each other. Otherwise, it's very difficult to go ahead in an environment that is not positive. And when you perceive that is not positive for you, first of all, I think that is very important, entering contact with yourself, understanding what you want, and what is the reason why you are there, and what you want to do next, or if you want to remain, etc. So explore a lot of opportunities, talking with your head or your boss, etc. There are a lot of opportunities that you can do, you can investigate. At the same time, also being responsible. It's important to really not to give blame to blame others, but take your own responsibilities. This is something that doesn't happen. People normally, we have different experience in our countries, first of all. And what honestly I've seen that sometimes we give the guilt to everything when we are stressed, when we are under difficult conditions, but we have difficulty to say, how can I do to improve my situation? What is the real reason that that I feel so stressed and demotivated sometimes, because there are very difficult situations sometimes. And at that time, I think that we have to also ask for help. This is another aspect that is not being underestimated, because if you don't manage by your own, also asking for help is very important, because sometimes we are not able to find an answer by alone. But being humble and looking for someone that can help for you, maybe it helps a lot. So professionals in this field, I have a lot of trust in this sense, that sometimes in our life we need help. And it helps to clarify. It helps to clarify what really we want, where we want to go, what kind of solutions to our moment of stress. What is important is the responsibility. Also, in this case, take responsibility of your crisis. That's my point. But everybody has his own opinion, and it's normal. We have to promote responsibility. That's something that is very important for me.
I think sometimes it's difficult also to realize when you're going under burnout, at least at the beginning.
Yes.
I think some of us can spot it. Now I'm able to see certain attitudes or behaviors in employees because I've had it before. But when you're going through it, I think it's difficult to understand that you're just, dismotivated and so on. There are several signs that you can see. And we had one coworker who suddenly quit, and I was trying to figure out the situation. Maybe I didn't pay attention at the beginning of the signs. And then I realized it's not because she's a bad employee. It's just that she's really overworked. But
Yes.
for her, the world was crumbling, and I kind of related to what she was feeling. So we had a conversation. She took some time off. I gave her the opportunity to rethink, with a cold mind, her options and so on. But the problem is that we don't see it when it's happening. You know, we don't see
Yes.
the signs because we don't know what it is until it's there. So this is what we're trying to avoid from the beginning. And this is what I was going through. Like, this is the trying to understand how to change the whole, from not when it's happening, but how to prevent it from before. How to have a better understanding of employees' needs, but also how to be productive while at the same time taking care of your staff. You know?
Yes, you're
It's
right.
complicated.
What I think, honestly, is that burnout is not applicable to work life. Burnout is a situation that is applied to all our life. So sometimes we are in burnout also because of other elements of our life that are not working adequately. So I don't think that we have to think about burnout and work completely. Okay, we are talking about this project is more connected with professional life. But burnout is something that normally it's, and I am sure about this, is something that is formed by many aspects, not only work. So when we feel a sense of stress that is not easy to manage, it's at that time that we have to ask for help sometimes, or to find a solution. But and after this help, you can understand better where it comes from. Prevent, you are right, is not easy. What is sure is that we have to listen our life. What helped me a lot is the moment of silence, the fact that I love staying alone and reflect on my life, taking a moment of listening for myself every week and every day, just 1 hour just for me, and just to observe my life as a detached observer, not being part of it, not feeling as part of it, but looking at myself even as I'm looking someone that is not me. This has helped me a lot to understand that what was going wrong. But burnout is not a fact of, okay, I'm burnout at office. Really, okay, it's true. But I think that it's a complex elements that can create burnout.
Of course,
Please,
I think it's a combination of several
yes,
things.
a combination.
Burnout. I mean, also in the office, we spend. I mean, at least
Yes,
our
yes,
full-time
agree.
employees. It's a big part of your life is the office. So of course, it could be also your private and sentimental or whatever. But office does play a big role.
A big role. Work is a very big role. Yes, you're right. Please, Sana.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put my hand down. Yeah, so I mean I agree. I mean, just basically reiterating what you, Marco, was saying, and I think both of you, that I mean, my point is what you're saying exactly. Burnout can be due to many different things. It's certainly not only due to work, and it's certainly not only due to one's private life. And I think that it really varies. In some parts of my life, it has been 100% related to work, 100%. At other parts, there have been things going on with my parents or with my child or whatever, you know? So I think that it really varies from person to person. However, I think that the main point for me is that, yes, we do have responsibility for our own lives. You know, we need to be guided by an inner compass and know where we can thrive. And when something is wrong for us, we should go in a different direction, or at least try to affect it as much as we can. But at the same time, it's not just up to the individual. And I think that going forward, I foresee a future where employers take on a much, much, much bigger responsibility, because this is a question that is often addressed after the fact. Oh, somebody, John he's burned out. How can we help him to come back? So I think that stress prevention is the direction we absolutely need to go in. And perhaps it should be with HR, perhaps it should be with business strategy, or a combination. But what usually happens is we have a fun project, like a health-related project, and everyone will be super motivated for the 3 months that we have it. And then once it's done, motivation goes back to where it was before, habits go back to what they were before. And that's why I'm talking about integrating well-being as a part of the business strategy. Because I think that we need to redefine I think that we need to redefine what success is. You know, it's not only about making money, it's not only about growth, but it's definitely also to make sure that we make a positive impact
sure.
in the world and with the employees. And for that, I think we need to have a strategy and not leave it only for people to think and reflect by themselves. But it really needs to be a strategic initiative. Thank
Yes,
you.
this is for sure. It helps a lot, moltissimo, very much. It's a way of changing the approach to social life also, take into consideration the wellness. It's very important. But you know that the European Union has a green book that wants to prevent stress. There are also a lot, because obviously if the people at a certain point cure a burnout, it is a cost for the society. So preventing should be better. Also from the point of view of the costs. Anyone else want to ask something?
No, I was just reading the chat, and Vivian left a comment, and she said, I think people still don't burn out or stress seriously. There is a difference between burnout and bad performer. Unless a manager takes it seriously and actually cares about the people she works for, usually see a manager only cares about her own backs. So this is the difference between manager and a leader.
Yes, but sometimes you cannot be what I want to clarify, sorry. This is something that is very important. A company has its own values. Okay, so if you can also be a leader of values, but your values have to be in tune with the values of the company. And so it's not easy being a leader in a company. Unless company, in my opinion, is yours. That's only my opinion. Being a leader in a company is very difficult. It's better to be a manager, because manager has to manage what exists. But according to some values, you know that in each company there are values, there are core values. And also, what I want to tell you is that one time when I was at Burnout, when I worked in a multinational company, I met my boss, and he told me, Ines, I'm your boss and I'm your company. That's it. If you are not in tune with me, take into consideration that probably you are in tune with the company. You are not in tune with the company. And he was so true. For me, it was correct. What he told was absolutely correct. This is my experience, please. It's not a Bible.
Sure. Thank you. Everyone has his own experience at the end, and there is not only one truth. Of course, I think it's really difficult to be a leader, a manager, to have a company. I think also that in this kind of society, we are more interested in performance normally, and we forget that what is part of a company are people, and we need to take care about people and about ourselves. It's difficult sometime to remember it, because the context in which we live, it's really strong. So it's kind of a fight sometimes. And I think another really important thing that we should learn with the time is to be in contact with our body and to listen to our body, because it's really kind of a map of what is happening. And in our society, we are not used to do it. We are not connected with our body, with our feelings. We should really learn more how to do it.
I would like to reply to Jorge Thomas. Yes, meditation is absolutely a very good tool.
What, sorry?
There is a chat. Jorge Thomas wrote about meditation, and I want to reply that is a very good tool.
Yeah, it is. How many people do meditation? I'm just curious. or like normally? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, not so much. Okay, 5. It's really hard. I personally did it. Sometimes I tried, but it's really hard to do it like often, no?
Yes, but also
At
it
least
depends
from
from
me.
your character. Because
Yeah, sure.
sometimes you can make meditation, very deep meditation. In my case, I never managed to let go completely. So I meditate a lot. I have had a very good experience also in India for meditation. We had meeting at 4 a.m. in the morning because air was pure, etc., etc. But honestly, I didn't manage to let go. Never, ever. But it was a
Yeah,
very
it's really hard.
moment.
Yeah, I can believe you. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
So, yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. I don't know if someone wants to say something or have questions. No, it seems no.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much for the discussion. It's made me think a lot. I do think that one of the key skill sets that managers should possess is to recognize symptoms of potential burnout in the teams that they're managing. And this is quite often overlooked. And if you look at job advertisements, and whenever they're hiring for manager, director level positions, it's rarely asked for as a competence, but I think it should become more mainstream, because I have had really good, well-meaning managers who could not recognize when their team members were pushed to a point of burnout due to overload and many other factors. While it is also an individual's responsibility to create boundaries and recognize when they are feeling overstretched. And that's why I was wondering, Elena, this project, are you looking at targeting different groups, for example, those who are managers and leaders versus those who are just employees? Do you have a different way of approaching these two groups?
Yeah, it's the targets are different. It's targeted to workers that suffered from burnout or victims of burnout, or also long-term unemployment. So actually in the next session, we are going to see how to recover motivation and how to deal with that. And it's also addressed to companies and also organizations. So it's really the main 3 targets are, worker, companies, and organizations.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Could I add to the conversation? Can you see me?
Yes, we see you.
Yeah, I just wanted to give one tip, and you may already know about this, but there is something called the mental health first aiders. So that is like a national training in the UK that's actually proven to be really successful, in the sense that they've created courses that help managers to be able to train to see the signs of mental health and burnout, or burnout signs and stress signs. And so they go through this course, and then once they've gone through the course, they then have refresher courses every quarter. And anyone who's a manager or leader can go through those courses. So that could be something to look into, just to get an idea of how that's done. And then, because I know I worked for a multinational as well, and we used that in the UK, and it turned out to be quite successful, because it meant that managers were much more alert with these type of signs. It could then go in and look at it. So mental health first aiders, if you Google that, you could probably come across some information around that. So that's something to look at. And I think the second thing I wanted to do as well is, when it comes to prevention and strategy within organizations, I really think that there's a caveat that we have to think about. because in there, a lot of the times people think mental health and well-being programs, but programs are just like putting a Band-Aid over a wound. They don't actually help. So I think that when you're thinking about setting a strategy, what really should be looked at is systemic processes and streamlining those in order to create room for time to do work. Because a lot of the times when you look back and you actually start to look at what is the issue, why are we having so many people that are burning out? It's a combination of culture as in norms, not so much the values, but the norms of the organization in combination with systemic processes that aren't really working. So I think any strategies that being put should have those two in combination, as opposed to programs, which is very popular right now, with a lot of organizations to just do well-being programs and think that that's going to be okay. Yeah, that was just my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. I totally agree with that. We really need to develop a systemic approach, because otherwise it's not gonna change anything. We can, of course, solve the problem in the moment, but it's not gonna help in the future or like for everyone. Thank you so much for that. So are you connected from UK actually?
No, I'm sitting in Sweden, so I'm in Stockholm
okay.
right now.
Okay.
But
nice.
I used to work as a global DEIB advisor for a big multinational company. And so I was involved with creating well-being strategy, which is why I just wanted to put that forward. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask, Jabu, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize if I'm not.
Yes,
have you been able to replicate your expertise and knowledge in the work life in Sweden, in the organization that you're working in?
No, is the short answer to that.
I
think
really curious about that.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say this. I think, and hopefully no one will take offense, but I think that Sweden has a long way to go when it comes to these aspects. I think we have the knowledge. We're very good at picking up knowledge. We're less so when it comes to implementing it in a perspective where you're looking at well-being from different perspectives. So not just looking at it from a perspective of, we need to have a form of program that helps people, right? But you're also looking at well-being from the perspective of inclusion, because if you can have the best processes, you can have the best norms, you can have the best culture, but if you don't take into effect, and this is my question, it's something that I'm passionate about, but if you don't look at it from an ethnic perspective, if you don't look at it from a disability perspective, if you don't look at it from a gender perspective, then you're kind of putting a blind eye to the fact that there's also aspects that contribute to burnout that we don't talk about, discrimination, all of these different aspects. So I think we have a tendency to compartmentalize. We're talking about well-being now, then we're talking about, diversity here, but it's all interlinked. So I think that we just have to look at well-being from a much more holistic approach. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. Thank you.
Yeah, totally agree too. Okay, guys, I think we have to close now because we are over the time. And I hope to see you again next Thursday, always at 2 p.m. And it's going to be Sanna Koritz, the mentor, I think. Yeah, she's here with us. And as I said, we are going to start the second module that is about recovering, self-assurance. So yeah, thank you so much again for being here. Thank you, Ines, for today.
Thank you, all of you. And all of you,
Thank
you in
you.
particular, for managing the session and moderating the section. Thanks a lot, everybody, and especially for the ones who have presented their own questions and have the opportunity to share with us their opinions. Thanks very much.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a
Thank
nice
you so
day.
much. Bye.
Bye.